Hi, everybody. This is Venkat from Simply.Coach, and you're listening to the Growth Dialogues podcast, the show that brings together experts in coaching, therapy, and consulting from around the world. Hello, everybody. Welcome to a very special episode of Growth Dialogues, where I'm joined by my co founders of Simply.Coach, Ram and Kiran. As some of our listeners may know, Ram and I are both executive and leadership coaches, so several decades of experience between us in the corporate world. And before that, we have led large teams in multinational organizations. Kiran is a technology entrepreneur. He has built and scaled multiple SaaS companies to success. And now the three of us are working together on Simply Coach. And today we're going to be talking about a very topical topic on client expectations in a digital world and how we as coaches can stay ahead. It's a topic very dear to us at Simply Coach. Several coaches talk to us about it, so we'll be sharing some of our own experiences and what we have learned from those other coaches as well. So we'll start by talking about the kind of coaching experience digital first clients expect today. Start with you, Ram. You must have seen some drastic changes over the decades you've done this in client expectations. And what's the sort of things that you are seeing?
So it's an interesting one. Again, lovely to be talking to all of you here. When I started coaching, it was essentially face to face, in physical, in person kind of coaching with sheets of paper to take notes and do the forms and evaluations. Right? But when you thought about it, there was the time in between the session where there
Mm,
was no concept of a client reaching out or talking to you. Sure, there was phone calls available, but just the format of coaching was so session based, session to session, that it never happened. Today, what I see people doing is they write to me on WhatsApp saying, I've got a conversation coming up in the next couple of days. Can we quickly catch up for 15 minutes on a topic? That's one. Or they would send across something that they have written or they came across which is relevant in their coaching experience and they share it to me using WhatsApp. So there is a lot of things that technology has brought in, which has made coaching a lot more seamless in the
mhm.
expectations of the client itself.
Yeah, I think it probably has impacted both the coach and the coachee as well. And Kiran, I know you had the benefit of having a coach in your earlier engagement, and that's where you were drawn to coaching and a lot of your ideas evolved. How have you seen the time that you were a coachee to now as a provider of services to coaches and coaches? How do you see that transition?
So rewinding back to I think 2016, 2017 when Ram was coaching me personally and my earlier startup as well. And I remember those days wherein Ram used to fly down to Pune to our office, and then over the course of 2 to 3 days there used to be group master classes, workshops, then one-on-one sessions, amongst other things. And as Ram just mentioned, a lot of forms, papers that we as coaches were expected to fill, go back, sleep over them, speak to our peers, then get their feedback, do all of those writing, and then basically share them. And one thing which was, I think, one of the major points that led us to thinking of starting Simply Coach was these sessions used to happen like once a month, or so to speak, and all the paper forms, or even our 360 feedback was a printed 360, right? So keeping them handy or keeping them even secure in one place and having them accessible in the following sessions was quite tricky. So we always used to discussed back then as well, as in this is not at all efficient or helping. And me personally, also having lost quite a few of those forms, it was getting quite difficult. So, and
Yeah.
fast forward to today, uh, seeing everything, and from obviously from a tech lens, being able to access everything at a single place, right from my sessions, my own thoughts, and then everything that my coach has shared from day one at a single place. That's, I feel, at least for me as a coachee, uh, would have added a lot of value, and saved a lot of trying to remember, like recollect, and then take the things forward.
Yeah. I'm smiling, Kiran, because I think I was talking to one of our coaches a few months ago, the first call, and I asked her what is the technology used, and she took out a stack of notebooks and said, "This is the technology I have." And she said, when somebody calls and talks, I immediately go back and say, "Let me pull out my 2020 notebook, January, and see what happened there." So I think your thoughts resonate perhaps with a lot of our clients as well. The other thing which I think, Ram, has happened is I think there's a lot of methodology in coaching. There are a lot of global bodies. There are a lot of certification schools. But I increasingly see that many people, clients want to talk about personalized coaching journey. It's not as much as coach me as what is going to do. So you share some experience about these personalized coaching journeys.
So it's very interesting, right? When you talk about personalized coaching journey, it's really a question about who's in control.
Hmm.
Right? The coach manages the process. It could be in the time of the sessions, when is it scheduled, what are the templates we are using, etc. But the client manages the direction and outcomes of coaching. Okay? And if I were to look at all the technology solutions that are available today and how it is impacting client experience, really it allows the client to take back of control of their journey. So, for instance, the ability to set goals was always with the client, and they would set the goals for themselves. But you cannot have a platform which says, oh, only the coach will be able to capture goals. The client will not be able to capture. So, anything as a platform that puts limits on it takes away that aspect of personalization which the coach is expecting. So it
Mm.
could be, I want to capture these set of notes. Can I capture this in an audio format and keep it for myself? When can I schedule a session next? These might seem very commonplace, but it goes back to the fundamental premise that the coachee is in control of their journey
Mm.
and not the other way around. The coach is not controlling. So a lot of time when our coaches ask for features, they are asking it from their convenience.
Hmm.
Naturally so, because they are dealing with a lot of clients. But the lens that we have to wear is saying, how does it help the coachee or the client to enhance their experience, their
Mm.
personal aspect towards coaching?
Yeah. And I think that aspect of what they want is also driven a lot today by some of what I call the corporate HR requirements, right? Earlier on, they would say, okay, a senior leader gets a coach and she gets 5 sessions, 6 sessions, and that's the end of that. Now, as more and more people are getting coached, one is this personalization aspect that you spoke about. The second also is the HR leaders want to know what outcomes are there. I know there is a whole thing about coaching, is reflection, you flow with the thing. And then there is this new body of thought which says that we need to have deterministic, measurable outcomes. So, how do you sort of balance those two around between go with the flow with what a client asks for versus some corporate HR leaders at least asking about, I want to know what changes have happened, what outcomes, what am I getting for the dollar that I'm spending on this?
So usually if it is a sponsored engagement, it is implicitly understood that the outcome of coaching has to be beneficial to the organization.
Mm.
So what one has seen, and we have incorporated this into the platform also, is the concept of public facing goals and private goals. So
Yeah.
you could come up and say that there are two private goals and there are three public goals that one would set in. So in a certain sense, those goals would be the ones that will contribute to the CHRO's measurable goals. Versus there are other things that I might be personally working on with my coach, which I'm still capturing on the platform. Technology allows me to do it, but it's still not outside or shared with the larger audience.
Mm. So true, so true, so true. And Kiran, one of the changes that I think we have all felt is our coaches who use our platform and the end clients, they seem to getting more tech savvy, as you would think, expect. It mirrors the entire world, right? And we keep hearing about this seamless experience. We want everything to be seamless. So, what does this word seamless experience mean, and how have we manifested it in our platform as well for coaches, for end coaches? How does that work?
Good question, right? So based on my going back to even the initial days when I was speaking with, I was fortunate to speak and get the opportunity to interact with quite a few coaches uh, during the initial stages as well, to understand what do they expect, or rather how do they see tech adding value in their coaching. And one of the things that kept coming back from majority of them was, me as a coach and my client will not be comfortable doing something new as a process, uh, in addition to the change or the coaching journey that both of us are already going through,
Mhm.
right? That is already a significant sort of event that is happening. And if you ask me to bring in more changes with regards to, okay, you have to now do this in addition to your sessions and all of that, that like probably will create more friction. So what that translated for us in terms of, while thinking how to make it as seamless as possible, was like, it's just to give you one example. While getting ready for a session, right, a coach can simply from a single screen review all his notes, previous notes,
Yeah.
without jumping across multiple places. They can simply start their session from a single click on the same screen. And one of the things that we are doing now also is bringing the whole insights and note taking experience in the video call, or the like virtual environment itself. For example, if you are in Zoom or if you are in Teams, instead of going out to capture some unique observations that you might have or notes that you might want to take, you can simply be present in the same environment and jot down your experience. So that was one of the ways that we try to make it as seamless as possible. And then from a coachee perspective, I feel being present where the coachee is, in terms of either if they are in their working environment on their laptop, then being present on the laptop. If they are on the go, they want to access something, making all of that coaching journey and artifacts accessible to them on their mobile app, which is always there for them. That's was, I think we introduced it early last year, and I think all of us here agree, saying there's one of the things that most of our coaches find a lot of value in and appreciate, because that in turn comes from their own coaches and client
True. That's
experience.
so true, Kiran. I mean, the fact that I could start something on goals on the web app, and then on the go do some more addition on the mobile app, then come back and take notes. And from a coach perspective, it's all seamless, right? It's I don't quite know where I started it and where I'm ending it, but it's a seamless experience as we move through that. And that experience is what probably a lot of the current coaches also want their clients to experience. So the point is well made that it's something for the coaches as well as their end clients as well. Also want to shift to another topic in terms of much beyond the sessions. And I think, Ram, you talked about the note taking and the sessions scheduling, etc. I know you're a big believer in the power of nudges to make sure that the learning are reinforced for clients. So talk us a bit about how nudges actually influence the coaching process and how we enable that on the Simply Coach platform.
It's very interesting, right? So if you were to look at it, and I'll just go back a bit before nudges itself. Devices like this one, for example, started talking about 10,000 steps a day, or
Mhm.
they would start talking about 5 liters of water. So automatically there's a concept of a goal which is set for you, and then there is progress being tracked for you and nudging, saying you are at 9,500 steps, take 500 more to achieve your goal. So now it has come into popular psychology that there is a goal, there is progress, there is milestone, and there are nudges. Now, how do you want to replicate it towards something which is more longer term? So you start breaking those into milestones that your client can achieve towards. And then the feature of nudges that we have developed is essentially trying to replicate this aspect of, are you doing the things that you need to do? For example, walking to achieve what you need to achieve, which is your health goal. So we have tried to model it the same way. And the immediacy of it is when it comes up on your mobile app, like Kiran mentioned, as a nudge. Then it prompts a certain behavior, which will hopefully help in making those changes.
Mm, absolutely. And I think the more I also feel that the nudges, besides reinforce the learning, as a coach, when I send nudges out, I think I talk to my clients more, much beyond the once in 15 days that I do formal sessions. It also means that they're hearing from me more often. They're hearing it me in my language as well. So that's important. And Kiran, one of the other things that comes about, and I think you talked about the evolution over a period of time, and we are asked this question every day. Okay, this is great, all that you're doing, but what about AI, right? Because rarely do we have a conversation where a coach doesn't bring up AI. What's your thinking about as somebody who has been coached and now you're providing coaching solutions? Where do you think AI potentially fits in the coaching journey?
So there are two at least thought processes that I have come across. One is if you want to provide low cost coaching at scale, then you have I believe today you have quite a few sophisticated chatbots today who will help you with the day to day getting coached on a particular challenge that you might be having at the workplace with your manager. Those kind of things. But if you look at the other part of it, right, where you have the coach, the real human coach who is working with the client, I believe there is a lot of potential in amplifying the power of the coach himself or herself
Hmm.
with the use of AI. And few of the things that we are tinkering and ideating internally, uh, right from the basics, like everyone almost today is using some sort of note taker, right, which is automated. And a simple use case for us is just have a Simply Coach note taker, which joins your coaching session, obviously with the consent of both
Yeah.
the coach and coachee. And then once the call is done, it'll go through the transcript, create notes in a specific template that the coach has designed with regards to things that were spoken today. What actions did we agree on? Any feedback of or recap from the previous session. So summarize in that, share with both coachee and the coach. This is the most basic use case that I can think of. This might be happening outside, but then we still believe there is a scope for improvement in terms of having the coach uh, visiting the note taker, then seeing like reformatting, and then sharing it with the coachee, or maintaining it at a single place, right? So that's one efficiency point that we can look at. Then if you have to take it one notch above, is simply can be a coach asking a question saying, review all my notes for this client for the last 1 year, and tell me if you are seeing any specific like patterns, any observations. Have you seen any improvements or things that are uh, going back, so to speak? The same can be done for goals, progress, what like, anything where I where you would want quick review of patterns,
Hmm.
analyzing, like summarizing, which I believe there is a lot to do in terms of the coaching space. There will be a lot of value add to make the coach more informed, and to help them up their game, so to speak.
So it's clear.
Kiran,
I'm not saying it's a either or. It's not like either AI or not. You're saying traditional coaching along with AI. Yeah, Ram, go ahead.
see, along with AI is very interesting. Let's suppose we are having this conversation and AI is listening. What happens if the AI were to prompt me and saying that, ask Kiran this question? Based
Hmm.
upon what the AI is listening today, it could prompt me to ask a question or a line of questioning which I have not thought of, which might be more insightful. That's one thing. The other thing would be that imagine that I'm coaching somebody and it's about the aspect of negotiation. I could spin up an AI bot which could do a role play with them live on the aspect of negotiation, and I could say, be a tough negotiator.
Yeah.
And the AI bot could do that role play for you. So in that sense, I get to observe my client in their very close to natural settings, which today I don't have the opportunity to observe them in. I hear it secondhand from them. But here it's almost close to first hand.
So I want to sort of end this by asking both of you questions around your specializations. I'm going to start with you, Kiran. You talked about the role of AI, but as we look at future client needs, evolving needs in terms of gamification, wearable devices, real-time data, where do you see the place for that in coaching and their integration onto platforms like us? What's your sort of 2 3 year horizon view on those areas?
Okay. So I think in a couple of the basics that I just mentioned some time ago, those are, I believe, just not if, but rather when they'll happen.
Mm-hmm.
Probably in a matter of few months, like automating the complete like note taking, insight, like deriving insights, assigning actions, all of those. Then if you have to go one step ahead from an organization perspective, right? I'll move from a coach's perspective to an organization where there are large teams getting coached from a single vendor or multiple external coaches. The org or the HR leader or the sponsor can start asking questions as to what are the emerging themes that are coming across. How do I is it aligning with my organizational goal that I just
Mm-hmm.
planned as a part of OKRs for this financial year. So all of those kind of integrations and data points is what I feel will start happening, and that's where the value will be uh, unlocked. The logistical things that we just spoke about, note taking, action assigning, summarizing, those are still for me, as I said, logistical. The value unlocking will come when lot of across employees, across coaches, across conversations, all of those trends start picking up, and then the HR or the sponsor can take some informed decisions. And just as a footnote on this, there we, as in I say we because we are part of that value chain, as a solution provider or vendor, we need to be quite mindful of uh, how are we using the data, where are we sending the data to, whether all the policies, all the stakeholders involved are have been informed. And so that's I believe this is the more tricky part from my perspective as to how to manage this part rather than the insights. We have all seen the
I
mind-boggling like
think
of ChatGPT. So
you're you hit it spot on, Kiran. I think technology can do many things, but I think the three words which we keep hearing from coaches: confidentiality, security, and privacy. I think we can never lose sight of those things. At all points of time, we should be able to manage. And now I wanted to talk to you about. I think you wrote a couple of articles about the democratization of coaching, where from the CEO, CXO levels, there's a lot of coaching just moved, and especially you remarked on the trend about the rise of group coaching in addition to one-on-one coaching. How do you see that going forward? Do you think this is going to increase? And for coaches who are listening in, should they be getting prepared to do one or the other? What's your thought process there?
100%. So, for a variety of different reasons, group coaching and team coaching has been picking up. But the fundamental fact is that we work as a team, and therefore it is not about individual brilliance alone, but about the effectiveness and efficiency of the team. So, more and more requests will come in for teams to be coached, much like football teams and cricket teams are getting coached. And
Hmm,
coaches will have to get ready for that.
excellent. I think it's been a great conversation. I think we have traversed the entire thing from the basics of coaching to some of the emerging trends, and I hope that our listeners would have seen value from this. Encourage all of you who are listening in to connect with us on LinkedIn. We're happy to take this conversation forward with each one of you. Thank you, Ram. Thank you, Kiran, for joining us. And listeners, viewers, hope to see you again in the next podcast. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you for listening to this episode of Growth Dialogues. Don't forget to subscribe to us wherever you enjoy your podcast.